it in, my brother. Yep. Perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about the moon landings, right?
Yeah. Oh, actually, I wanted to check that. Yeah, when we go to spoilers, I want to talk about me and actually me and Tom Hanks. But I need to check that.
All right.
Before we. Okay, let's do that then.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? Good. Hey, welcome to the segment. We just watched Bridge of Spies. Okay.
It's right there.
Oh. Welcome to the segment. We just watched Bridge of Spies, and we're going to do a in-depth review of it. This is our spoiler-free review, so if you haven't seen the movie, you're safe here. We're also going to do a spoiler review in our next upload right away. So, spoiler-free, what'd you think of Bridge of Spies?
To be honest, it reminded me of something probably from the old days, you know, because obviously the footage was made to look like 1960s, so we're not giving anything away. But it looked real, and I think it reminded me of, you know, a Cary Grant kind of movie, or just top quality, great acting, great scenery. The footage was made to look older. The costuming, you know, the car details, and I'm not an absolute buff, so there might have been some cars in the wrong era or whatever, but it looked, to me, the consumer, looked real. Everything felt real. It was amazing quality of acting in that show as well.
It was neat how they were able to tell such a great story.
Right.
And, you know, it's a movie, so they probably embellished on some things, but it didn't feel like they were. It felt like a real people making logical decisions, and it didn't feel too over the top, but it still felt very cinematic.
And I think you made the point earlier, so I'm going to give you credit for it. When we were talking about it, you mentioned that they weren't rushing it. And it wasn't laboured either, so it was a great pace. You felt that everything took its time the correct way, you know, because otherwise you wouldn't have built the relationship and so on. And so I think, full credit to Spielberg, he nailed it. I thought it was classic. Yeah,
it was great. Like, Spielberg is one of these guys that is, and I haven't seen all of his movies, but especially, like, just taking this movie alone, his most recent.
Right, standalone.
It seems like he's not trying to be anybody else, and he's being completely Spielberg with this movie. He's not trying to keep up with any type of new type of film, new type of thing. This is going back to, I think, you know, a little bit of better era in Hollywood. It felt like Saving Private Ryan, that kind of pace.
You said it, you know, back to the days when filmmaking was about the story and not about the blue screen, green screen, whatever we want to call it these days. Special effects, if there were any in there, you didn't really see them. It felt, you know, like a classic film noir, if you will.
It's definitely one of those films that, you know, you watch it 30 years from now, you're not going to be able to tell if it was made any time. I mean, this movie could have been made in 1989, it could have been made in 1995, it could have been made today because it's completely classic.
Could have been made in the 60s. I mean, it just has that kind of feel, the colour of grain, the way, you know, the treatment of it.
Which they also did Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, Tom Hanks is an amazing actor. And very rarely would I ever say somebody did better than him, but I thought, you know, the gentleman, Mark Rylance, I think his name is, Rylance, who played Rudolph Abel, what a great actor.
Yeah.
And British. But I thought his calmness, I mean, and you know, the way he delivered his lines, obviously, you know, that's what they were looking for. But it was so believable.
Yeah, it felt like a real spy, somebody that you could... You know, we've gotten to the point now where we all know.
Right.
We're far enough away from the 60s. We all know that there was good and bad on both sides.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And he really was a hero in a way in this movie that you could look up to. And I think this movie was really wanting to get that point across. That's probably the whole point of the movie. But it definitely came across the right way. You were definitely rooting for the Russians, which you almost wouldn't, you know, if this was, you know, 20 years ago, you'd be like, what? You're rooting for the Russians in a movie? They would have kicked them out of Hollywood, you know, for coming up with that. But
really, yeah.
I mean, literally, they would have brought them in front of a congressional meeting if they would have made this movie too long ago. But you really do find yourself rooting for the Russians, but it's because you're rooting for honorable people.
You know,
not every Russian.
Yeah, and you know, something that really takes you there as well is good costuming, and I think they did fantastic with that. You know, the props were all there. You know, it was really looking.
I was feeling the cars too. You mentioned the cars, and like they showed a lot of cars in the movie.
Yeah, not just one or two.
Really
You know, they really showed situations and corners. And you know, often I'm looking to see if the extras are looking at the camera or whatever, and there was none of that going on hardly. I mean, it was well put together. Everything felt real. You got lost in the film, and in fact, if you left for 2 seconds to go to the restroom and come back, you'd about to ask the question, what happened?
Yeah, what did I miss? What did I miss?
Exactly, too scared to leave, you know. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, the modern version wasn't like that, but I love those kind of films where they make you think versus, you know, boom, 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 and it's too
and it's
simple.
funny too, because it's not like this big spy drama with a lot of like intrigue and twists and turns.
Red herrings and
like
that.
It's not that.
No.
It's just a realistic story where you do need to pay attention, you do need to follow it, and you will miss out on things if you leave for 5 minutes, but it's not that like post-pounding, like Mission Impossible kind of thing where, you know, ooh, is this guy about to die? Like, no, it's just like, what's the Prime Minister's phone call back going to say? You know, it's more stuff like that, but it was great. It was great to actually sit in a theater and watch an actual real legitimate story.
And you know, storytelling is a movie. It's gotten to the point where special effects have become the movie rather than the storytelling. And to me, you know, when you set out to write a script, you know, you want it to be believable, and then you put all this nonsense in, which some films require. I understand that, but in this one, it didn't need it. It would never have needed it. It was fantastically done.
There's so many movies lately where, you know, it's obvious that they're coming up with the gimmicks in the movie first and then building a story around it.
Exactly, and I thought everybody did a nice job. Sebastian Koch, another really good performance. Alan Alda, you know, there's somebody in there that had a good, you know, really a good run at it. And we'll save a little bit for the spoilers, but I thought the fact that it was a true story, obviously, and you said, you know, you can embellish it and change it a little bit because nobody really knows what truly went on. Yeah. But it seemed believable.
Yeah, if they embellished it, it was hard to tell when and where, because it really felt, you know, legit. Yeah. And I think they probably got the essence of the story across, you know, just from the time that we saw the movie till now. I was on Wikipedia looking at stuff, you know, and I know that's not 100% reliable, but you know, it got me interested in the people and checking what, you know, happened in their lives and stuff, you know. And
it's true.
This is a true story, you know, supposedly, hopefully, and yeah, I think they definitely seem like they captured the essence of what happened.
Well, I think so. Even to the point where you know, we're going to almost wrap up here. So I want to talk about my score for it. Yeah. Because I do it out of 10, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Just because of everything that we've talked about encapsulated, made that a real movie. Yeah, it was fantastic. 9 out of 10.
I'm going to give it an A. I can't think of what it could have done better. It's not it's not an A plus, but you know, because it's not going to change. I don't think it's changing anything in Hollywood, and it's not starting something new, and it's not, you know, it's not going to be like my favorite movie ever. No, but it's a solid movie.
Well, and you'd hope that they're going to win some awards for this.
It definitely had that Oscar feel, and it's so funny because it's like, you know,
it's a simple
movie.
Hollywood,
can't you just look at what Spielberg's doing and just make more of those?
Exactly.
Like, can't you just copy him, directors? Come on.
It's almost like we've gone in reverse, and we're actually making movies again that are real. Yeah, feel real at least. And without all the special effects. I thought it was a fantastic and very brave decision, because obviously it's an era that unless you were in that era, you may not be interested in it. For a lot of kids, maybe for school projects it might be useful. But for a lot of us that are a little older, I mean, we remember a lot of those things. So
that's one of the things when I was watching it, you know, I was thinking, man, like, all these people are dead now. Like, you know, all the people who were in their 40s and 50s in the 1960s, all the men that made this situation happen, they're all gone.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, it's amazing, really. So we gave our scores. Anything else we want to talk about?
One more thing before we wrap up. Who should see this movie under what circumstances? Do you think it'd be good for like a date movie?
Yeah, I do. I think because it's not controversial. I mean, and actually, you know, because I'm the weak one in this relationship, my eyes did well up a little bit. So, you know, there was a couple of parts in there that were very good. I think it would be a great first date, second date. It doesn't matter. Married. It's a great movie. Go see it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like a lot of emotion. You almost feel like welling up. You almost feel like crying, but there's no love story.
Exactly.
It's all about just these real human decisions.
Yeah.
And there's love in the movie, but it's not a love story. It's not a man-woman love story.
Not at all.
But by the end of the movie, you feel the love that people had for each other and the decisions that they had to make.
Absolutely.
And just fascinating that these men like that really existed and probably still exist today. I'm sure there's spies all around the world.
You know, and against a lot of prejudice, let's be honest. I mean, you know, from a lot of walks of life, and we'll cover that in a minute.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think anybody can watch it, buy it, rent it.
I was thinking, too, even
both.
Children. You don't have to worry about children.
No, it's great.
The most violent parts in this movie are in the trailer.
Right.
So if you want to get a sense of any kind of violence, if you watch the trailer, that's as bad as it's going to get, which is nothing more than you would see on a History Channel documentary.
I agree, yeah.
They didn't exploit that at all.
Thumbs up from me. In fact, 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up, an A and a 9, and below you can click a link where you can see the first fan reviews, and then right now we're going to jump into spoilers, and below you can click a link that has the spoiler review. So we'll see you back there, and subscribe, Blue Number Media on YouTube.
I just want to think of that one movie. What was that political movie that Tom Hanks did from the California governor or whatever he was? No, a politician.
Harvey Milk?
No,
that was Sean Penn.
Yeah, what is his name? Hang on.
California.
I don't know if he was California. No, I don't think he was California, actually. The more I think about it, he was... oh, God, what was he? Fuel, there we go. He was with... I got a little story, that's why I want to tell it. God dang it. Charlie Wilson.
Okay.
Okay, Charlie Wilson's one.
Yeah.
Alright. Actually, I can put that right there. Okay. Alright.
So you ready?
Yep.
Alright. Hey, welcome to the segment. This is our spoiler review of Bridge of Spies.